Look at that gold shining in the sun. Welcome to the channel. Well, we got some parts in. We went and, well, this is what came in, I should say. I got some shock boots. We got a front brake cable. We got front brakes, seals, and bearings. Shouldn't be too bad, I'm hoping. Looks like we just need to take that front end back apart. But first thing we're going to do is I should probably lube up the brake cable. Honda recommends 10 to be a 30, I think is what it says. And so what I do is I use this little squirt can here. And I just hold it up and get it down in here. And then kind of work it back and forth. I know it's a brand new cable and whatever. You shouldn't have to do it. I don't know. Hey, just lube it. Lube up your cables before you install them, and they'll just last a lot longer. So let me get this thing. No. Let me get this thing up, and cotter pin, 19 M&Ms. Take that out, and then we'll drive it out, and I'll get back with you guys on removing those bearings, because I have a little trick that seems to work pretty good. We'll have to pop the seals off first, and then once that's off, we can get to the shoes in here and this. I see the biggest problem we're going to have is probably the boots, because somebody drilled a hole through here and put a bolt in it. I don't know if they're going for the squatted truck look. You can see it's actually raised it a few inches, and I don't know. I mean, it sits level. I don't mind it. I mean, not for the whole squatted look, but you know, it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't look that bad. So I don't know if they drilled in through, I don't know what they did. So when we get that off, we can take this apart and see, because this has to come off anyways. You just undo this bolt here, should pull out, and then I can put the shock boots on. And yeah, that's right, went with blue. It'll match my bar I painted. So let me get that all together, get it jacked up, and well, see you in a second. Alright, let me show you how I like to lube up cables. So, new cable, and little squirter. Now, I use 10W30. They make cable lubes, they make all kinds of stuff. I even know guys that use dry graphite, but this is what I do. Because, honestly, it's not like this isn't going to see the elements. It's not like, heaven forbid, it sees some mud on it. So, I pull this up. Just pull it out a little bit. Drip some. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Keep doing that over and over and over again until you see it come out this side. You see the oil on it. Now I took this off the boot because if you don't take that off, it likes to press air out and blow your oil back up the other way. So I take that off. Then, final measures, I drip a little more down in here, just a hair. Then put a little bit inside here, kind of get that all nice. Flip it over here, pull that out, get that all nice, put a little more in there. Flip it back over, go over here, push that back on, bingo. Then, now it's being held up, right? Put a couple more drops in, and then just stand it up somewhere. Hang it from something, whatever you got to do. And so while we do the rest of the project, that can have lubrication dripping right down it. It's off. So after I undid the brakes right here to the old brake cable, then I just had to undo the 19 millimeter nut from this side, or it went through. There's a cotter pin, then that castle nut, 19 millimeter castle nut, drove it through. There's that spacer or bushing sat in there, and here is the brake side, and that is crusty. I don't know if that, no, yeah, you can see it there. So those will be replaced. There's still kind of tread on it, but the drum doesn't look bad. I think I can just wire wheel it. I mean, it's just front brakes, right? So I will wire wheel that thing up, and then in here is seal, and then the bearing. And this bearing doesn't feel all that bad, but inside here is actually like another shaft or a through bar. And so what the trick is to kind of push it over, and it goes all the way through to the other bearing. And if you can push it all the way over, you can get a drift, like a brass drift or aluminum drift or something, and push it right in there onto it, and then hammer it down, and it'll hit the other bearing and pop the other bearing out. And then, you know, pull the seal out with flat tip screwdriver or a seal puller. So what I'm planning on trying to do first, and how I always try to do it first, is hit that with a drift and pop the bearing out. Usually doesn't take much. Sometimes they're stubborn, and then, you know, you got to try and get a bearing puller in there, or, you know, a fire wrench, torch the thing out, whatever. But I'll try that first. All right, I got the bearings out, and the seals, so you can see right came out. This is the bar I was talking about. So this goes in there. I already put the bearing and the seal on the other side. So this just sits down in there, and it kind of sits however. So that is what you need to try and hit with a drift, and it pushes the other side bearing out. Then here is your new bearing. Sits right in here. You can see there's a lip kind of where that bar is, so it can only go so far. You just kind of work it in, and then I start it with like a low ball peen, and then here is my Kix Bryant. It's just a piece of pipe, but anyways, your pipe, you just want to hit on the outside race. Don't hit the inside. Hit the outside race, work it around, and then drive it the rest of the way down here. It doesn't take much. And then that seal, actually on the other side, I pushed it on with my hand. It was a little tight, but you know, just took a little finessing. And brakes also are done. So I just grab it with my hands and pull the springs, and it sits over that peg, and then here is your cam, so it pushes it out. Let me get this all set back together, and so now you can see where that bar was that goes through there, or the pipe. Let me get this all back together, and then it's on to the front shocks. All right, they're off. So as you can see, this bolt with this cool nut, that goes through the upper section of your forks on this 83, and it goes through the shock, and that pretty much holds it there. However, what they did, they drilled a hole all the way through and through the other side, and then put some kind of hinky washer, nut, whatever deal through it. They did it to both of them, of course. And yeah, they're rough. They don't work. And this one just, I mean, literally fell out. You can see where they drilled it through. And there too. So I do not have anything parts-wise to rebuild these. So we're just going to clean them all up. And I will find a better bolt to go through that, because, well, that's what I have for right now. And we'll see what we can do about getting parts to rebuild these. But they were just, they're packed full of mud and water. There's water in there, so I mean, they're non-existent. They don't even work. So yeah, I'll throw a bolt in there. I'll get them cleaned up, and then well, we'll see what we can do from there. All right, they're on. Looking good. So I ended up getting like a 10-9 bolt, ran it all the way through, and put a lock nut on it. That's all back together. Bearings are all together. Seals. Brakes are in. Brake cable is on. Comes up through here. Doop. Through that little holder. Up and ka-cha. I haven't quite adjusted it yet. I got it a little bit adjusted, but what I like to do is actually, you know, take it for a lap, kind of do a couple loops or whatever to get it kind of everything seated nicely, and then from there I go ahead and do like a final adjustment. This normally, I think here there's supposed to be something off the fender that holds it. Somebody before had a zip tie kind of holding it tight, and I mean, obviously they didn't want it to get into the tire, I guess, but that zip tie really put a kink in it. But right here is really where it probably rubbed against there, but we're gonna have to do something with the fender anyway, so we'll just have to keep an eye on it till then, till we do something with the fender. So maybe what we'll do is I'll see if I'll go fire this thing up, and then I'll take you guys for a little tour of one of the trails on my property. Just do a loop around, and then we'll come back and we'll adjust that. Ignition on, and make sure you're in neutral. Oh. And choke. Get a little gas. Alright, maybe not so much choke. Maybe no choke. Come on, come on. All right. Well, let's see, what do we have going on here? So maybe their hinky fuel system has finally come to bite me, because I haven't touched this yet, but it's leaking gas. It's only been sitting like 2 days, 3 days since it started. But you can see up in here maybe, there is, somebody wrapped electrical tape around the petcock to make this 1/4 inch tube, 1/4 inch hose fit onto the petcock, because I think that petcock's actually supposed to be like 3/16 hose. And maybe it's it's kinked up here. Okay. Well, I guess we can adjust it later, the brakes later. Join me next time when we see if we can get this 1983 Honda 200 big and red to run. It's been sitting a whole 3 days. I don't know. Hey, go out and do something nice. See ya.